cut it to 5. And do. To Graham.
Georgetown. That's the ball game. The national champion. Back to the show.
All right, I'm Big Mo from the Big Mo Show, and we got a good show today. A legend, 2 legends in here. We got Michael
Graham
and
Pete Diotis.
And y'all already know Brandon. So I'm getting out the way, and let's go on and get the show rolling, baby.
All righty, we're here to talk to Michael Graham about his upbringing and here in the DMV, and we can promote the Capital Classic. We've got the owner here, co-owner Pete Diotis. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Now that we got that little audio issue straightened out, we got Michael Graham and Pete Diotis here. Talk about the Capital Classic. This year, it's going to be on April 26th. Yeah, we got a doubleheader this year, April 26th, at the Care First Arena in Ward 8 in D.C. For the first time ever, we're doing a DMV Girls All-Star game, and then it'll be followed up by the traditional Boys Capital Classic, the U.S. All-Stars versus the Capital All-Stars. So we're really looking forward to that.
All right. What could people expect this year? What's different maybe this year that hasn't happened in the past?
Well, like I said, the prelim game, in years past, we did a prelim game last year. It was generally a boys' game. It was always called the scholarship game for those that aren't as have as much notoriety going to D1 schools and the like. Last year was the suburban versus the district all-stars, but this year we decided to be gender inclusive, and for the first time are doing the inaugural girls game, and it's a DMV all-stars game. We're really excited about the quality of the girls in this game for this year.
And how can folks purchase tickets?
You can purchase tickets via Ticketmaster. You can go to the Capital Classic website, the Capital, CAPITAL, classic.com, or you can go to Ticketmaster.com. Just search Capital Classic, again, April 26th.
All right.
$25 tickets for a doubleheader. Great price.
Sounds good. Great family fun, entertainment for the entire family. Get to see some great basketball. I mean, some great players playing this year. You know, Jordan Scott, who led South Lakes High School out in West Virginia to back-to-back state championships, and Cam Ward, who plays at Largo High School, he did that for his team in Maryland. And both of them are going to be playing college together at Michigan State. So we'll get to see some future stars here.
Who was the alumnus there? I mean, all the players that came through there. You know, the history of the Capital Classic. I know I played, but when I played, man, there was a lot of great players before me. I remember watching the first game with Earl Jones.
Okay.
You know, that was a heck of a game, and I'm watching all these big 7-footers and everything, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know guys grew that big in this game.
Yeah.
You know, and it was very, very interesting. You know, got to see some of the names. You know, when I played, you had Stuart Gray, you had Barry Sumter. I mean, you had some big 7-footers, and I believe I was the tallest on our team.
Yeah, Michael, you're talking about Earl Jones, who played at UDC. I think that was probably in the early 80s, maybe late 70s. But this game started in 1974 when Bob Gagan, our founder, wanted to bring the best talent in the U.S. to play the talent in the DMV, because the DMV is rich in history in terms of its basketball talent. So he started this game, and he did it at the old Capitol Center where the Baltimore Bullets relocated when they became the Washington Bullets, and wanted to do that before the Capitals had even hit the ice at the Cap Center. Bob was chastised about it, and he was told, you know, go do the game at Blair High School. And Bob, who, you know, never cursed and didn't drink, said, you know, why the blank
Right.
Why the blank would Moses Malone want to play at Blair High School?
Fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
So this year, we're super excited because on the U.S. team, we have Brandon Lee, who's going to the game. Brandon Lee is Butch Lee's son.
Wow.
Butch Lee, who won a national championship
Marquette.
under Al McGuire at Marquette, played in the first ever Capital Classic in 1974, and he was the MVP of the U.S. team. Right? Later played in the league. So Butch will be at the game. We're going to honor him at halftime at the game. We also are honoring Howard Garfinkel. We're involved with the Howard Garfinkel Foundation.
Legends.
Yep. Howard Garfinkel was one of Bob's best friends, and he oftentimes helped Bob with selection of players in the Capital Classic. Always finding those tweeners, not necessarily always McDonald's All-Americans,
Right.
but those players who are hard workers, do well in school, and then are killing it in the league. Take a look at guys like, Josh Hart, Chris Jenkins, who, killed it at Villanova, and you see what Josh Hart's doing with the New York Knicks. So, I mean, this is the game that started it all. You said who played here? Moses. In 1977, Magic. Right? Magic, Magic Bleepin' Johnson played in the Cap Classic. Magic was named a McDonald's All-American in 1977 when Bob told McDonald's, let me do a national game for you. They were like, no, what are you doing? That seems a little much. He's like, let me name a team. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
And the next year, the McDonald's All-American game was birthed in 1978 in Philadelphia, and Bob ran that game into the late 2000s. In the early 2000s, Jordan, when he was here, Michael Jordan, who's a 1981 Capital Classic alum, who played, I always say to people, Michael Jordan didn't play Patrick Ewing for the first time in the NBA, Chicago versus New York. He didn't play Patrick Ewing and Michael Graham for the first time in college basketball, UNC versus Georgetown. The first time Michael played Patrick was in the 1981 Capital Classic. Again, one-namers, Magic. Dominique was an MVP of the Capital Classic. The Battle of the Giants, you're talking about the tall 7-footers. The Battle of the Giants was Ralph Sampson versus Sam Bowie in the Capital Classic. Ralph, I said, Michael, Patrick. You had Grant. The MVP award that we have is named after Grant Hill, runs USA Basketball. Everyone knows Grant Hill, NBA Hall of Famer. He's involved with the game, and he's lent his name to the MVP award for both teams, the Grant Hill MVP award. LeBron James played in the game, so LeBron, Chris Paul, CP3, Carmelo played in this game, 02, 03, and into 04. One of the Splash Brothers played in this game, Klay Thompson. The other Splash brother, his dad played in this game, Del Curry, played in this game in 1982 for the U.S. team alongside of Brad Daugherty. And they played a team led by 2 Capital All-Stars, which beat them. Johnny Dawkins, who played at Duke, and unfortunately the late Lenny Bias, who was a great at the University of Maryland. So, that's continued, and we're super excited about this game. This is the game that started it all, birthed all the other games.
Right, and a lot of people don't know, like you said, this was a precursor to the McDonald's All-American game. Bob Gagan also started that.
Yeah, because McDonald's was the sponsor of the Capital Classic from 1974 to 1992.
Okay. How do they go about picking the players from say, the USA team and also the local district team?
So we have a selection committee that we pick from the local team. That's a lot easier because they're in our backyard. Steve Turner, formerly of Gonzaga, but he's been at Gonzaga for many, many years. Now I guess he's at Mount Verde. So I texted Steve congratulations. I also texted him. I said, why don't you coach the U.S. team in 2026 and bring us all the U.S. All-Stars, make our job easy. Getting the players for the U.S. team, we were talking about this when we were coming in, used to be easier, right? The players weren't seen, weren't on social media, weren't on the web, and it was a prestigious event and a privilege to come here, right? To come to D.C., see the city, we have pictures of Patrick Ewing on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, pictures of Michael Jordan standing behind George Herbert Walker Bush when he was vice president to Ronald Reagan in the Oval Office. We're taking the kids this year from the U.S. team to the U.S. Capitol and visiting the floor of Congress. We did that in 17 when we did it at the now Capital One Arena. A couple years ago, we took the kids to the African American Museum. Things that they can only experience here in D.C. It's
Right.
more about basketball.
Exactly.
Learning culture, the city. We're very passionate about financial education, financial literacy. So we have our committee reach out to players across the nation and, try to garner those commitments, right? But commitments aren't what commitments were back in the day.
Exactly.
Right? And you've got NILs,
Uh-huh.
people have AAU coaches, you've got handlers and such. Used to be you work through, your mom and pops and the player, and it was a lot easier. Right? I was talking to Tom today, and I said, can you imagine Bob was doing this and getting these commitments by fax?
Wow.
Like waiting for faxes to
Yeah.
come through.
Right.
For
A lot
players.
has changed.
A lot has
since
changed.
those days.
A lot
yeah.
has changed.
Yeah.
Wow. How do you go about picking the coaches?
Picking the coaches locally, we tend to go with a coach that's, won maybe consecutive titles, things like that. And then U.S., sometimes they'll come with a player that we're getting. So like last year, we had an alumni of the game.
Okay.
We had Dennis Scott, who
Yeah.
played in the game. He came back and coached, and his son, Trey, Dennis Scott III, was in the game on the U.S. team. He's at Georgia State this year.
Right.
And such. Dennis had the time of his life. He was loving it, and he mostly loved sitting there and talking about his past and getting questions. He was on WJFK with the Sports Junkies, and Trey was just sitting there going like, my pops is a lot more than just beyond, just like the Orlando Magic and maybe playing at Georgia Tech. He's like a local legend, from high school.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was the #1 player in the country.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
He played for Stu Vetter.
At Flint Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin Durant. Stu Vetter also coached Kevin Durant too.
At
Yeah.
Montrose Christian.
Yep.
Yeah.
And but yeah, Dennis played for him at Flint Hill Prep. Yeah. Great coach. Yeah, Stu Vetter, really good friend of mine. Yeah. Michael Graham, what do you remember about the year you played back in 1983?
Well, it was a heck of an experience, For one, I was excited because, I like I said, I always loved to play against 7-footers. It was something about that. The game got bigger than me. But it was a great experience, I'm looking at all the guys that we had, all the local guys. I was comfortable with the team that we had. I mean, we had Muggsy Bogues, we had Tommy Amaker, we had myself, Bernard Day. But I was just thinking about only 2 of us made All-America. That was me and Tommy Amaker, And we wound up beating that big old U.S. team with
double overtime, right?
Yeah,
A thriller.
Yeah, it was a thriller, man. And I was just working on that MVP, man, and I thought I had it. Muggsy got it with 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. The 6 assists probably it was giving it to me.
How disappointed were you not to get the MVP award?
Wasn't all that disappointed. As long as we won, and he changed the game. He changed the game. That little guy came in there, man, and you couldn't put the ball on the floor. All I had to do was run, and I knew I was going to get the ball. So it changed it. He deserved it, yeah. Yeah, especially with the steals. 6 steals? I mean, come on. Yeah.
And then you went on to play at Georgetown. A lot of people remember you nationally. I mean, those highlights and that Hoya paranoia, and you guys were part of pop culture.
I was gonna say he didn't play at Georgetown. He dominated at Georgetown.
made the cover.
Use the word.
Made
play.
the cover of Sports Illustrated, right?
Exactly.
Some of the funny thing about it, when I came back from Seattle, it was a guy that was on my floor, and somehow he knew. The magazine didn't come out, but he knew. He was like, "Hey, dude, you're on the cover of Sports Illustrated," and I looked at him and I thought he was crazy because I know he ate a lot of mushrooms and stuff, But he knew everything about sports before. I mean, he knew before it hit the paper, and that's how I knew. It was a great experience though, winning a national championship. I think I had the big coach to take me at one time because I kept telling me and his nephew were really close in high school, and I kept telling him, I could win them a national championship. I kept saying it over and over. And, you know, for some reason, after seeing Patrick play, I wanted to go there because I had originally signed a letter of intent to Maryland.
Really?
It was in the drawer.
For Lefty Driesell?
I had signed my 11th grade year. You know, it was in my coach's drawer, so I was on my way to Maryland. But the things changed. My senior year came, and you know, we went to the Virgin Islands, and you know, I watched Patrick and Ralph play, and I was like, that guy ain't got no help. You know, and I was like, he needs some help. But then what sealed the deal was when I watched them play Memphis State. Nobody on the boards with them. And I said, that's my cue right there.
Did they have Keith Lee?
Yeah, they had Keith Lee.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a lot of guys that wore the jury curl.
Yeah, I remember him.
And they were tearing. Georgetown was just too small. They wasn't physical enough. And I said I wanted to be there. You know, and I kept begging coach, but you know, he acted like he wasn't recruiting me, but he was because Donald Huff kept telling me, you know, he would call me every week asking me who's the best player in the DMV. Of course it was you. I kept telling him it was you. You know, but he, for some reason, he wanted to know. You know, so I finally went on and, you know, after all the hell I had to go through to get up in there, finally got there, you know, and played. It was a great experience.
What did it mean that you be part of history? John Thompson was the first black coach, African-American coach to win a national championship.
Yeah, very proud of that. But, you know, I don't know. I knew after we won it, I wasn't coming back. People say it was crazy, but I already knew I wasn't coming back. You know, a lot of things happened, which I'm going to tell all in my book.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, I'm not going to say nothing right now. People waiting on it, but I'm trying to find people to help me write it, but everybody want an arm and a leg and the firstborn. Then I had a gentleman call me from Canada talking about he wanted to do a documentary and this, that, and the other, but, you know, I want it done right. You know, and like I said, I want the truth, the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, I mean, Coach Thompson wasn't no angel. He was only human. You know, I'm not doing this to step on nobody's toes. You know, I think I have an opportunity to tell my story and my side of the story. Okay. You know, how things went. Okay. And I think people should know. I think the younger generation should know that this college game, it's gotten worse now. You know, it's gotten what it was back in the day. Okay. You just couldn't outright give it to a kid. You know, so you know, it's to me the NIL is tearing college basketball up.
I agree. Yeah,
it's tearing it apart. You know, because if you think about it, yeah, the guys might be thinking about the NBA, but they could be millionaires by the time they leave college.
Mike, you got a caller want to call and ask you a question.
That's what's up. All right.
All right, Ferguson, you're on the mic. Ferguson.
Hey, caller, what's your name? Who you calling from? Where you calling from?
Ferguson.
Okay, Ferguson.
Yeah.
How you doing? Thanks for watching.
He got a question for Mike. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Ferguson, ask the question, man.
Ask your question.
He's talking.
We're waiting on your question. What's your question?
What's your question, Mr. Ferguson?
Ferguson, he's asking you, what's your question?
What's your question? All right.
Next person. Next.
All right.
Next man.
Next caller.
Next caller.
But let me read what he wanted to ask you. Because he's messing up. You must have made him nervous. So the question is, ask Mike. Shoot. Hold on. Let me put this on so everybody can hear me. The question is, ask Mike, did he used to play in Southwest DC number 4 Boys Club?
Did you used to play?
I grew up there. That was my home. That's where I first started. You know, that's why I had to play basketball for the Police Boys Club, because I tried out my 9th grade year. Didn't make it. I was about 6'5", 6'6". All I wanted to do was run the streets, commit crimes. Mm-hmm. You know, I want to do everything. I want to be this big old hustler at 6'6" or 6'5", the biggest thing in the city. So I couldn't get far if we were caught. You know, steel hug, caps, you name it, I done it. I grew up in Southwest and Greenleaf and off the Capers.
Okay.
So yeah, that made me want to play ball. So I had to play at number 4 Police Boys and Girls Club. and that's what things started.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you. I guess you probably. I was going to ask you. What was it like growing up in D.C.? How difficult was it for you?
Very difficult. 'Cause like I said, I didn't start playing. Actually, I really took it serious because I had no other choice. Let me tell you how it happened, and this is crazy. I used to just go to school to eat the breakfast in the morning because my mother was single parent. We didn't have no food.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
You cut your teeth growing up playing basketball in what area? Because I remember you down in Southwest D.C. at number 4 Boys Club.
Yep, that's where it all started at. We were just talking about that. That's where it all started at with Larry Jewell, who's my coach, and Mr. Borden, who ran the whole boys club. They took me in. But the reason I had to play at the boys club, as I was saying, was when I was at junior high school, Jefferson Junior High, I was going to school one morning, and I had this principal named Mr. James Campbell. Everybody in the city know him. He stayed on me, brother, you need to play ball. You need to do this. You need to do that. But my problem was, I didn't want to go to school, so I would go up to the Smithsonian Institute, Air and Space Museum, and hook class all day, just walking around, just looking at the museums. And then when I got hungry, I walk in the bathroom behind the kid, and but another story. By me going to school that morning to get my breakfast, it was 2 guys on the tennis court. They were playing tennis, and I seen this beautiful tennis bag with these tennis rackets. So I take the bag and the rackets, and I'm running into school. I'm thinking they didn't see me, but they did. So I see this guy coming behind me with his shirt tied up, little short guy yelling, "Where my doggone rackets? I know he took them. I know, big old tall young fella." And he had this other guy, this Caucasian guy behind him with long hair, but wasn't saying much. So come to find out, I was pointed out and everything, and my principal said, "Michael, where's the rackets? Where's the bag?" Gave him the bag. I hid it in the janitor's closet. Gave him the bag and everything. I thought I was going to jail. They called the police.
So you did take it.
Yeah, talk. Because I was thinking about getting some money, man. I mean, I had to eat at home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I had, I thought I was going to jail. So that's when the Boys and Girls Club came in.
Okay.
And I had to make this deal. Well, it wasn't a deal because I had no say-so. The tennis rackets I stole belonged to John Lucas.
Maryland. He was a basketball and a tennis player.
I know. And guess who was playing with him on the court?
Who?
Venus Geraldine.
Oh my God.
So you took John Lucas's belongings? Oh wow.
Yeah, but they had their tennis rackets and everything in it.
Oh wow.
And here's this guy, Venus. He wins the fucking. Oh, excuse me. He wins the Wimbledon. You know what? I didn't know about that. I didn't even know about John Lucas. I mean, I was hearing stories that there was an NBA player who used to live across the street in that big high rise, and it was Larry Wright who used to play for the Bullets. But I never knew anything about John Lucas or anybody of that nature. So it was either that I play basketball or he's going to press charges. And, man, they stayed on me and stayed on me. And, during that time I was playing, I couldn't even walk and chew bubble gum.
Okay.
This is my 2nd grade year in the 9th grade. But all of a sudden, with the hard work and dedication, me staying off the streets and, what really took the place is I seen how it made my mother feel happy. Because out of all the years, what I used to do, I used to cause misery to my mother, staying out late at a young age. She tell you can't go outside. I'm jumping out the window from the 2nd floor. And here's a woman that never owned any real shoes, always wear cloth bedroom slippers, really never owned any clothes, but she always made sure we ate. Me and my 2 younger brothers ate. She always took care of us. So when I seen that, it sort of like changed me. Because at one time, I couldn't even go in her bedroom. She would lock her bedroom door, lock the refrigerator, because I was just that bad. But then, I noticed things were getting good. I come home from Georgetown, the weekend. I lay across her bed, it was just me and her, buddy, friends, I'm in tight. And then God took her away.
then ever since then, I've been,
How did that affect you?
a lot. It affected me as far as me not per se leaving Georgetown. Like I said, I knew I was on my way out after a lot of things happened during the season that I didn't approve of, and I didn't think anybody should go through. It was a lot. I know it affected me a lot because I got drafted by Seattle Supersonics.
Okay.
Everybody talk about me making a team. Lenny Wilkins, he drafted me.
And that's where you won the national championship in Seattle, right?
Mm-hmm. Lenny Wilkins drafted me, but Bernie Bickerstaff became the head coach, and he was giving me this chance. I had it right there, but hanging around the wrong people. Bernie told me, hanging around the wrong people. I had hell of a practices. I made some of those guys look like they were kids. Some of they good players. I mean, I had it so till one player was so jealous of me, he threw a ball at me during a halftime game. We were playing Portland, and he got pissed because I didn't give him up the ball. He threw the ball at me, and I was going to throw it back at him, but my teammate, who was on our team, Xavier McDaniel, said, "No, Rook, I got this." He picked up a chair and threw it at him, and this was our teammate.
Xavier? Okay.
Yeah, he picked up a chair and threw it at him. He said, "I don't want you to get in trouble. I got this." Yeah, and then I'm gonna say it. The guy was Tom Chambers.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Suns, right? Phoenix Suns?
Yeah. So I mean, they had a lot, and then me being hard headed, like for instance, I had Maurice Lucas. Hey, Rook, go get us some cars. I ain't gonna get y'all shit. That's what I told him. No, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? That's the mentality I had. Didn't know that it was, I didn't know that. I really didn't care, I really didn't think about making the pros. All I wanted to do was make my mom happy, by trying to finish school. It ain't that I couldn't do the work up there. You'd be surprised the things that I had learned up Georgetown, and the things. I remember my first week in class, we had to do a paper. Stayed up half the night doing this paper, got one of the best grades in the classroom. I was happy. Next week, come back, teacher want to talk to me. The professor want to talk to me. She gonna tell me I didn't write the paper. That hurt me. That hurt me. I told Coach Thompson, he went off because anything that got me through the thing to do with race, he's on it.
Yeah.
But
Miss Finland, was she around?
Yeah,
Finland?
She was around. She did. I didn't hear much from her. Only when she got on me and said things at times that I didn't like that you wouldn't say to a freshman.
Because I went to John Thompson's camp and he got into a little altercation with a camper. He sent me up to his office, and Mary Finland,
she'll chew you out.
She'll
say some things to you that you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, she tore me a new one.
And I'm like, some people could take it, but I couldn't. Me coming from the background I came from, single parent home, my mother didn't even say that to me, a black woman. I wasn't gonna let her do that. So that's where I had the problem at, and it caused a lot of other problems. But that was the way they ran their program. Yeah. Before you got up there, they take you in. They got to see if you can read. They got to see if you can comprehend stuff. It was a lot you had to go through, And I guess they was protecting their butt. Some players they did, some they didn't. But what used to make me mad was, everybody had to major in sociology, and I didn't want to do that.
Okay.
I didn't, because to me, that's an easy way out. And there can't nobody get no job that you want no source. And I love all my Georgetown brothers, and I'm not getting on them whoever graduated with a sociology degree. But I'm just saying, if you look at the job market, I've helped out a few of my ex-teammates get jobs and everything, and I'm supposed to be the bad apple out the bunch. The university don't even mess with me.
Really?
They do when it's beneficial for them. I'm gonna put it like that. But they got some they mess with, some they don't. And I know I'm one of them because I can look at some of the articles, like from the championship games. And if you look at them today, I'm mostly out of all of them. The history.
They don't mention you.
And that's not their fault. Even some articles that other people print or put out there, I'm out of the history.
Give me that.
Yeah, I'm out of the history.
So speaking of articles, I gave this to Michael when we came here today. This is a full copy of the Sunday, April 1st, 1984 Washington Post when Georgetown and Houston advanced to the Final Four. And it's got a picture of Michael slamming through the ball to win at the Final Four. I had collected
Michael Wilbon.
I had always kept newspaper copies of the Post. I'm a big sports fan through the years, especially around Georgetown basketball, Maryland, the Redskins, Steelers, and such. And I was going through this the other day, and I said, hey, I'm going to see Michael at this year's game. Let me just frame it up for him and give it to him.
Perfect timing, right?
This is where it belongs. Michael, one thing that resonated with me, if I can ask you a question.
Sure.
You talked about Coach Bickerstaff and talking about, who you surrounded yourself when you were in the league. And it resonated to me because a couple years ago, we had Adrian Branch, who is an alum of the Cap Classic, went to Maryland. I think he was maybe a year behind you.
81 he played.
He was 81, so maybe a year ahead. Right about the same time, he spoke to the players a couple years ago about his experiences at Maryland. He was at Maryland under Lefty when Len Bias, his teammate, had passed. And he said simply to these kids, you surround yourself with chumps, you're a chump. You surround yourself with champs, you'll be a champ.
Well, Coach Thompson used to say this, and I'm going to try to keep it clean. if you're around nine broke motherfuckers, you're bound to be the 10th one. That's what Coach Thompson said. So, I'm by myself. I'm not rich or anything, but I'm by myself because I don't want to be that 10th one.
Okay.
So it depends on who you
run with. Who you run with.
Yeah.
My 10-year-old.
But you've been blessed. Didn't you win the lottery or?
Yeah,
or
but
something
you got to think about. But after tax, it's really no money.
Okay.
I think about I had 2 restaurants. I had a solid waste business. I sent 2 people to school. They finished up at UDC.
Okay.
I got 2 daughters that finished school. I finished school.
Okay.
So I bought houses, cars, marriage, divorce.
Doesn't last long, right?
So divorce. So
High cost of living in the DMV, right?
Yeah, right. So it really wasn't no money.
Right.
I tried to spread. You might have had some family members that was upset, but that's fine.
Right.
Because I know if it was the other way around, they wouldn't have come knocking at my door. And I wouldn't be mad at them or upset with them for that. I let them choose. So it is what it is. But I'm a loner. I learned that from the start. I used to hang out with Coach Thompson's nephew. We were best of friends. We still are, but he does his thing. He's in the voice acting now, and and I'm doing my thing. So I just stay to myself. And if I'm not with my 10-year-old or talking to my kids or something, I'm by myself. Yeah.
But you were in the restaurant business, right?
I had 2 restaurants.
What was that like?
Tough. It was tough because I didn't get no sleep. I wound up having a stroke in 2015, and so I had to give them up. I wound up closing both of them, and instead of me selling the merchandise, I gave it away. I gave it away to somebody, which I shouldn't have never did that, but I did. So that tells you that materialistic things don't even matter to me because you can't take it with you.
Okay.
So I don't have a problem with giving up materialistic stuff.
Okay.
I had to give it up on my health, so I didn't want to sit there and worry about it. So
But you got a beautiful family. You got kids, right?
Yeah, I have beautiful kids, man. I have 4 daughters and 2 sons.
Okay.
Well, my oldest son deceased. He passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, brain hemorrhage. So but they range from 10 to 41.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nothing wrong with
I
that.
always tell my kids, Michael, don't collect things, collect memories.
Exactly. And my daughter told me that the other day, and it made sense. She always tell me, don't worry about nothing. Just worry about the good times.
Yeah.
And it made sense. I'm like, wow, girl. Yeah. So.
I want to ask you, who were your early influences? Who'd you want to be like? Was there a player that you looked up to?
No.
No? All right.
No, it wasn't.
You want to be like Mike?
No.
All right.
No, I'm saying you.
Be like myself. But let me tell you the story about Michael Jordan. I was in the airport in Chicago.
Okay.
And I'm playing in the CBA for Phil Jackson. That's my coach. So I'm going down to the book, where you buy your magazines and stuff at. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at this financial magazine and everything, and I hear somebody walk up to me dressed in all black because I looked down first. He said, "Mike, what you doing here?" And I put the book down, and I ran back to the gate where the team was, and I say, "Guys, Michael Jordan just called my name. He's down there."
And where was this? He said at the airport?
Yeah, in the airport. He said, I was at the little, where you buy your little magazine.
Yeah, what airport was this?
In Chicago, O'Hara.
Okay.
And he said, "Mike, what you doing here?" I'm like, "Damn, are you serious?" Okay.
So he knew.
Yeah, I'm like, okay,
okay.
that made me feel good, man.
Yeah,
like,
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and they was like,
well,
"Who
you
knows?"
played with Patrick Ewing.
Right. So, but I'm like, come on, man, Michael Jordan. Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I didn't have no favorite player. You know, me personally, I was always my favorite player.
Right.
Like I said,
okay.
I didn't play or wanted to play the game by looking at somebody and said that, you know,
right.
I played to stay my behind out of the justice system, juvenile system.
Were you a sports fan? Redskins, Bullets?
Nope.
No.
Nope. I wasn't. Let me take that back. I was a Redskins fan.
Okay.
Because we used to be in the street all the time playing tackle. Yeah, after a Redskin game.
Okay.
Yeah, in my neighborhood. We'd be in the street playing tackle. I'm like, Jesus. Think about something. It's crazy.
Looks like Big Mo has a question.
Yeah, because it seems like y'all avoiding all the good questions.
Okay.
First of all, I understand you respected Mike later on, but in college, like he said, he the only one that really was talking on it. In college, y'all was embarrassing Jordan. He wasn't that good towards y'all. He wasn't that good towards Patrick, and you was a monster dunker.
I was in high school when they played Jordan.
Well, when you played in the championship, am I right? You was a monster dunker.
Well, it was like this. Our practices.
Hakeem Olajuwon was on that Houston team, right?
Our practices were so intense. I mean, it was blood. It was like a mass unit. We bleeding. I'm punching on Patrick. He punching on me, or whoever. It didn't make a difference. Somebody leaving, they bleeding, or they getting taped up, or something. It was always like that. So time we got to the floor and played the other teams. You know, we were itching to play. You know, we were itching to get that ass. You know, and that's how it was. I mean, it was, you know, we got tired of practicing amongst ourselves every day because it was a lot of fights amongst us during practices. So.
And you touched on it. You touched on it.
Yeah, Big Mo, you were talking about
Patrick Ewing.
I mentioned Patrick and Michael didn't play for the first time in the NBA. Knicks Bulls.
Right.
They didn't play the first time Georgetown UNC, but that predated this Michael. That was I think '82.
Okay.
Patrick's freshman year when Georgetown gave UNC that national championship in my mind. But I mentioned that the first time that Patrick played Michael was in the 1981 Capitol Classic.
And who was better? Tell the truth and shame the devil.
Then who?
Look at the stats.
Was Patrick Ewing giving Michael the shit in college?
He was giving it to
Georgetown.
everybody. He was giving it to everybody.
He was giving it to everyone, yeah. They always said in college, Dean Smith was the only one who could hold Michael Jordan under 20. That's what they always said.
Yeah, he broke out in the NBA.
Michael was more a system player in college than in the NBA. Then he, really exploded. But until he got good coaching, and everybody needs help. You can't do it by yourself.
Right.
Now, in the summertime, did you play in the Urban Coalition?
Yeah, I played in an Urban Coalition and everything. I played on a couple of teams. The team I really remember was Bowles VIP. It was me, Manu Bowl, Darryl Prue.
Okay.
It was a couple of guys there, and we used to love when we played Baltimore. That was the thing, man.
What were those runs like? Yeah,
they were
Coalition,
jam-packed house. They made you get hype. I mean, I did my first 360
slamming on something, and didn't even know I could do it. You know,
Really?
and my godmother was there, lady who I was staying with after my mother passed, and it was so amazing, man, because the crowd makes you like you walking on air, man, and you want to perform good for the crowd. So the coalition, man, there'll be never another one like the Urban Coalition.
Yeah, and James Wiggins was the founder. We just lost him. Rest in peace.
We just lost him. Yeah. So,
yeah. Now, where did they play those games?
When I played, they played at Dunbar, the old Dunbar High School. But I heard it was over at Spingarn. It was at McNamara. They played several places. I don't know where it was before it came over to Dunbar. Okay. I think at one time it was up at McDonough Arena. You know. Okay. But yeah, it was several places. But when I played past couple of years back in I think 84 and 85, 86, it was at Dunbar High School.
Spingarn, legendary high school with Dave Bing, Elgin Baylor.
It was only 5 All-Americans there that came out of Spingarn.
What are your memories from high school at Spingarn?
They were good memories. I mean, they were good memories. That's when I really got tough and really started getting all this attention and being called a man-child and, you know, this, that, and the other. And, you know, my first year, repeating the 9th grade, we played JV. I was on the JV team. Nobody, I think we went like maybe 21-0. Nobody wanted to play us. Nobody. Mm-hmm. We had a team, we could have beat most varsity teams. That's how, that's how John Woods stacked up his team, varsity and junior varsity. Our junior varsity was guys that could play anywhere. But the game that we wanted, that I wanted so bad, was they called this guy the best freshman in the area. Mm-hmm. It was Billy King.
Really?
And I wanted him so bad.
now I can remember
I wanted him so bad but they wouldn't play us. Because they knew what was going to happen. They knew what was going to happen. And no disrespect to Billy. Hell of a player, beautiful guy, but I just had that dog in me. He didn't have it.
Now, I can remember going to the city title game. I think it was 1985. Spingarn and DeMatha. Spingarn had Sherman Douglas, Anthony Duckett. DeMatha had Danny Ferry. And Spingarn beat DeMatha for the city title. I think it was around 1985. Yeah,
we were supposed to beat them that year when we played them. We went to the city finals. We played DeMatha. Danny Ferry calling me an old man. He calls me that today, old man. Okay. But anyway, I think I had like 24 points at the half. And we were up. They stopped giving me the ball. They stopped giving my teammate Clarence Green the ball. Clarence Green was the toughest son of a bitch that I ever played with.
Clarence Bootney Green?
Man, if you go on the war, that's who you take with you.
Okay.
He made Michael Graham at Spingarn. He really did. He really, really did. He was jumping center.
Wow.
You know, yeah.
And how tall was he?
He was like probably about 6'1" then.
Really?
Man, this guy could jump so high you could see under the bottom of his shoes. You know, and then when you see his little nose bead up, he gonna give you 40. And he get the stuttering, he gonna give you 40. You know, and I as long as I know I'm going to war with him, I didn't mind, man. And we won a lot of games together. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Big Mo's got a question.
Yeah, I got one more.
Excuse me.
All right. Another question, and I know you probably don't want to answer it, but I just want to know so viewers can watch too. You was a violent somebody too, boy. Like he was the Draymond Green, wasn't
the enforcer. Yeah,
you was the Draymond Green, and
people were scared. People were scared of you. Huh?
Actually, they was because I remember a championship.
You had
game.
the bald head, yeah.
You know, you got all the guys. You got all the guys from Houston in the warm-up line looking at me, laughing, smirking. I already knew they were scared. Elijah Wan, he was just working on his game. I know he was serious, but I already knew them other guys were scared. So I go back to the huddle and tell Reggie.
You from D.C., yeah.
Hey, dog, we got them. They scared to death. They were scared. Same with Kentucky. Every time Mel Turpin got the ball, I told him, you shoot it, I'm going to break your back. And I just told him that. Because, I was really getting frustrated, for one, because I was gone so long from home.
from my mom and them. And I just wanted to win and go home, And then, I remember me getting into the game, Kentucky game, slamming it at the half. We go in the locker room. We waiting in the locker room. Coach coming in, get on me. God damn it, I brought you here to protect Patrick. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking at him like he gone crazy. Like, you brought me here. Yeah, that I do know, but why you getting on me? Right. So I just like, nah, this ain't gonna happen like this. So I said, we're gonna take this home. And I start saying stuff out my mouth and all that stuff, and just went out there and just start playing and everything. And I said we going home. We going home with this chip. That's what I told him. We going home with this chip.
Now, why is the D.C. area, or as we call it now, the DMV, such a basketball hotbed?
It's always been that way. I think it's more of a hotbed back then in my days than it is now. Because nowadays kids are not playing no more. The playgrounds are not full no more. People are not coming to some of the summer league games, basketball games, the classic, and they missing out on a lot. Great entertainment.
Or they go to these academies.
Yeah, right. And see, everybody now, back in the day, me coming up in high school, I didn't have no entourage. I worked out in boots, sweatsuit, by myself. I walked all through D.C. area from playground to playground to play a basketball game, and then and people knew once I got on the court, I wasn't getting off, and that's the way I was. I would walk from Rosedale all the way up to Banneker to play a game, and it was like I would walk everywhere in D.C. to play that basketball game because I started getting good, and then I started getting all these letters, people wanting me to come to their school, Kansas, all the big time universities and everything. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Then I started getting the girlfriends and everything. And I was like, I just knew my shit didn't stink then, like, yeah. So, I mean, that changed a lot. And then I started seeing my mother at peace. And that's what, like, changed me, knowing the things that I did that wasn't helpful. So it was time for me now, seeing myself that I can make that change. And I was trying to, and then when I tried to, then that's when she left.
Where are some other Turkey Thicket? Did you ever play there?
Yeah, I played there. I'm everywhere. Anacostia, everywhere. And wherever I walk to, if I see you on the court, and if they run the whole court, I'm stopping and playing. All the time. I was like that all the time. And everybody say, all we used to do is see you walking around with a basketball dribbling. And that's the way I was. Walking all through the streets of D.C.
Gym rat.
Yeah, gym rat.
In the gym, always in the court. Yeah. On the court and in the gym,
Yeah. So, but right now I'm working with the youth now. I'm a youth counselor out here in Rockville. I'm also a mental health care coordinator out in Great Falls, and then also I am a program coordinator for Reading Partners, which we teach kids from 1st to 4th grade in DC public schools how to read to improve their reading. So I'm trying to do a lot. I start my podcast. Make sure y'all watch it. May 6th, WBGR is the station. Tune in at 7:30. And then I'm working on my book. I'm going to get it out. And don't judge me. I'm not writing anything bad about anybody. I'm telling the truth. And everybody that might be in that book, we all are human and we make mistakes. Just think about that.
All right. You heard the man. And you're on social media, right?
I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X. I got my shirts, my hoodies, everything. I'm trying to raise money for the podcast, and yeah, we just gonna do it, man. We just gonna do it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Big Mo, I think we're done.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mo. Yep.
Yeah, but hold on before y'all go. Let me get my last question.
All right.
Let me get my last question before y'all go. All right. So, quite naturally, you important.
Who?
You, Miami Vice.
Miami Vice.
Yeah. Quite naturally, you're important. So, what is it that you actually do besides the classic?
I currently work in wealth management. I've been a CPA since I graduated college in 1990, and I've worked in corporate America. So I just handle the finances for the Cap Classic. I love sports. I grew up in the D.C. area. I became a close friend of Bob Gagan, our founder, in the early 2000s, and have helped him personally and professionally over the last 20 plus years of his life. And that's what I do. Only through education can you raise where you came from. I'm first generation Greek here, Michael. I was raised by a single Greek mom. I didn't hear you mention your dad. The only mention of my dad was he beat the living blank out of my mom until she said no more. Wow. And when I was 6 years old, I had a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old sister. So only through education can you change your facts and circumstances and who you surround yourself with.
That's important.
That's it.
That's important.
Yep. And his partner is Tom Doyle. Yeah.
Yeah, my partner's Tom Doyle. He's a lawyer here in Rockville, and he's been involved with the Cap Classic for many years as well, and involved with basketball as well.
The Hoop Culture Capital Classic, right?
Yeah. And April 26th at Care First Arena, doubleheader, 12 noon, girls DMV All-Star Game, first ever, followed by the Boys Capital Classic at 1:30. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster. $25. We're looking to raise as much money as we can. The proceeds from this game go to the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Washington to the extent we can make any money. So $25, where can you go?
And when is this?
April 26th.
All for a good cause.
Got you.
Thank you, Big Man.
I wish you stopped messing with that. But one more question before you go, too, because I heard y'all talking about this before Brandon even came in. Mm. This era, right? Mm-hmm. Versus y'all era. I already know the answer because nobody in this era is you. Because you was Draymond Green, but you was a little bit more violent than Draymond. Because they got you in slow motion swinging. They can't even do that no more. This era now, and then you dunk as hard as Daryl Duncan's. This era now versus the old era. You start because you the one was touching on it.
I was the one that brought it up. I mean, basketball today is, I'd call it charmin'. Sorry to make you laugh, Big Mo. Like, you can't touch anybody. Nobody wants to get touched. I can't be in your landing area when you're chucking up a three, and that's a foul. I'm sorry. Back in his day, I mean, I just played pickup basketball. There was no and ones. If you got your arms above your waist, your coach was yelling at you. You know, there was no and ones. 2 fouls, go to the foul line, make your free throws, and you know the next time you're coming in there, you're going to get the same treatment, so you're not coming in there no more. That's what I loved about basketball back in the day.
Now we were the first to do it. You know, we were the first bad boys. Then it was the Raiders. Then it was the Pistons. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
yeah, but you had the Lakers and the Celtics.
Rambis
and McHale and Danny Ainge and Tree Rollins, Robert Parrish. You know, in Atlanta.
They wouldn't stand a chance now today.
No.
They wouldn't at all.
No.
Too physical. They wouldn't stand a chance. They couldn't.
Yeah. It's everything Charles Barkley says.
And Georgetown became part of pop culture. I mean, yeah, people wearing Georgetown starter jackets in movies and became
Brandon.
Really part of pop culture.
Fix your mic.
Paranoia.
Yep. Hoya Paranoia.
Yep, that was it.
All right, everybody.
But that was real. That was really Coach Thompson paranoid, though.
Right.
It wasn't us.
That was real.
That was Coach.
Yeah. So I guess everybody, it's time for shout-outs, and then we can wrap it up. Why you always do that, man?
All right.
It's that simple.
All right, you guys go first.
Well, I want to shout out to my daughter Susan, my daughter Sade, my daughter Asia, Lily, and Tiana, and my son Markel.
Tom? I'm sorry, Pete.
Say your name.
I'm sorry.
Say your name too.
My name's Pete Diotis.
Pete, I'm sorry.
Capital Classic. Shout out to my family and all my friends. That's it.
Real simple.
And for those of you
Stop
don't
touching it.
All right. So those of you who don't know, I'm writing for Sports Illustrated now, so you can always check my articles out there. I've been cracking them out. Brandy Sims. I'm on social media, Brandy Lewis Sims, and DMV Prep Stars. Yeah.
And don't forget to check out my show, May 6th, 7:30, WBGR. We also roll code, YouTube, television live, Facebook. We on it.
And your book.
And my book.
And the Cap Classic, April 26th at Care First.
Yeah,
Arena, noon and 1:30.
Can we do media there? Can we come?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I want to thank
Come set up at the hotel.
Thank
do
Michael.
interviews.
We can do
Thank
that.
you.
Do live
and
interviews.
Tell
for
him
joining
that.
us.
Listen what he said, Brandon, because Brandon don't give me no media.
Yes.
You
He
know,
said we can go to the hotel too.
Yes.
Set up at the hotel.
Yes.
Interview.
Yes.
Do interviews. Come to the
Yeah.
practice. Come to the
Yes.
practices.
Yeah,
I
we'll-
want to do that.
We'll be there. We'll be
coaching
there.
this year.
We'll be there.
You coaching this
What's
year?
that? I'm not
Oh,
coach.
hell
Yeah.
no. He can't coach.
I'm not a
Oh,
coach.
I'm about to say.
All right. Thank you,
Anyway,
everyone.
thanks y'all
Thanks
for
for
showing
watching.
up. And
Thank you, Big Mouth.